Hello everybody, GCurse here. This is the continuation of the Unsolved Mysteries Labor Day Special 2019 episode. This is the second part. I'm going to be covering the disappearance of George Owens. This is another tragic case. This one is even more, they're both sad, but I think this one hits even more home for me because it's clear that George Owens, there was a problem with him and people just could not get to him in time. But let's get started with the show. So, a continuation or the conclusion, or whatever you would like to say. Hold on, let me just get it set up. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Okay, I want to say right off the bat, I apologize for the video quality of this case, of this video. I originally, I did, looked in my resource of videos that I have, and oddly enough, this is not on the remastered, or whatever you want to call it, the Amazon version of Unsolved Mysteries, and it wasn't on any of the Unsolved Mysteries that I could locate on YouTube. So basically what you're watching is like the only copy I have, and I don't understand why they kind of struck this from the re-airings of Unsolved Mysteries on YouTube and Amazon, because the guy's still missing. It's but for some reason I could not locate this case anywhere, so I apologize for the poor quality of this video. And like I said, I tried to make sure you guys had the best quality video, and this is just gonna be one of those times that it's not possible.
Jesus died on Calvary.
George Owens was probably the last person in the world you would expect to disappear. For more than 20 years, he was the associate minister of the New Hope Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee. His congregation lavished him with affection and praised him as a respected, upstanding citizen who never missed a Sunday service. The mystery surrounding George Owens began in July of 1985 when his wife Aileen traveled to Ohio to visit her niece. During 67 years of marriage, it was one of the few times that George and Aileen had been apart. As it turned out, they would never see each other again.
This is the prime example of why I always tell at the end of every one of my Unsolved Mysteries commentary videos, I try to say, make sure you give that special somebody a hug, because you don't know what can happen in the next minute. This is a prime example, 60 plus years that this was one of the few times that they were apart, and one of them goes missing. You make sure you always tell that person, somebody special, that you love them, because you don't know what can happen in the next minute,
At 6:30 a.m. on July 22nd, 1985, Aileen returned to Nashville as scheduled. George had arranged to meet her at the bus station, but he never arrived. Aileen waited for an hour before phoning her brother-in-law, Alfred Owens.
I wouldn't have even waited an hour. There's that many people that I can rely on that much, and the people I do rely on, I trust them implicitly. I think that's the right way to say it. But the thing is that if I need a ride from work, my ride knows that I get off at a specific time. If they're not going to be there when I get off, I'll figure something's wrong. I'm not going to wait an hour or anything.
When I got the call from the bus station from her, I told her that I would pick her up, and I called him, and he wasn't at home, and I picked up and carried her home.
When she got there, she told me, she said, the moment I stepped in the garage and his car wasn't there, I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something was wrong.
Alfred, here's 2 place settings.
I wonder where is it?
Okay, well, there's two place settings, so I'm guessing George must have thought that, he was getting ready for his wife to return home, so he was probably getting everything set up. So it's clear that, by the looks of it, he must have left to go pick her up, and something must have happened between the time that he made the plate setting and the time that he disappeared.
Alfred immediately contacted the authorities, but an investigation turned up nothing.
Oh, Bill?
Then 6 days later, George Owens' car was found abandoned on a remote rural hilltop, more than 100 miles from his home. There was no evidence of a struggle or foul play. The keys were still in the ignition. The back door was open, and George's cane was propped against the car. Inside, investigators found George's jacket in a pile of kindling wood, but there was no sign of George Owens. Within a week, a local television station aired a missing persons bulletin about George. Several people in another part of Tennessee recognized his picture, and an unusual story began to unfold. On Monday, July 22nd, 3 hours after George was supposed to pick up his wife in Nashville, he was seen 80 miles away traveling along Route 13.
Okay, so how much dough? Well, let's see, but labor...
At a filling station in Santa Fe, Tennessee, George stopped to have a flat tire repaired.
$60.
The owner recalled that George paid him in cash.
Okay. All right, sir.
Good luck.
And thank you. I'm a little bit turned around yet. I'm trying to get to Nobleville. Can you give out to get there?
Oh, Nobleville. Yeah, you go right down here to the second big intersection.
George's family believes that the service station owner may have misunderstood where George wanted to go and directed him towards Lobelville instead of towards George's home in Nolensville. No one knows what George was doing in that part of the state. Nolensville is approximately 30 miles southeast of Nashville. The service station is in Santa Fe, which is 50 miles southwest of Nashville. Lobelville is 60 miles due west of Santa Fe, more than 100 miles from George's home.
I honestly cannot, help but find the commonalities between the George Owens case and the Roger Kane case, because they were both, they both happened to have frequented, like a gas station / repair shop for their vehicles. I can't recall exactly what they said. Rogers needed help with his, but it cost like $40, and then George Owens here, he had to have a flat tire fixed, and it was like $60. So it's just like, it's those commonalities I always kind of link between cases and stuff.
On the afternoon of Tuesday, July 23rd, the day after he stopped at the service station, George was seen in a market in downtown Lobelville.
I was working. I was the only one there. And he came in the store, and he wanted to know if we had any ice cream. And I told him yeah. And he asked me would I get him one. So I went and got him an ice cream, and he paid for it, and he went back out to his car. A few minutes later, he came back in the store, and he was pointing towards the cigarettes. And I asked him what kind he wanted, and he pointed towards some cigars. So I gave him a box of cigars and a box of matches. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're going to hear what happened pretty quickly, but it's clear that I think that, like Rogers, I think he got confused, and I think it triggered, amnesia or something, because as you'll find out in a few seconds, it's clear that he was having problems, and the clerk tried to get him help, and I feel bad for the clerk also, because she even I think she mentions that, if she had a chance, she would have done something different, if I recall correctly.
Now, I used to love to dance. In my life, I used to have a good time. I used to love it. What? I can't find my wife.
I think he was disoriented. You don't know where she is? I mean, he seemed fine. But when he told me that he couldn't find his wife, he just, he was just so upset about that. Maybe she's at the clinic and you lost your way back down there, okay?
Mary Jo Phoebus called the local clinic to see if George's wife was there, but there were no patients who fit her description.
She wasn't there, sir. I'm sorry. I wish that I had called somebody. If I had called somebody, then this might not would have happened.
5 more days went by before George's car was discovered 12 miles from the market. An exhaustive search and rescue effort was organized, but there was no trace of George Owens. However, the investigation did turn up one significant clue. A clue which led authorities to believe that someone other than George may have been driving his car, and that a second vehicle may also have been present at the scene.
When we started the search, the closest person lived to the scene said that she saw the car go up the hill and a pickup was following, and the pickup stayed 15 to 20 minutes and it come back down the same road because that was the only way in or way out.
Okay, now that does seem kind of interesting that, a truck followed, George's car. But I'm also wondering, does this road lead to anywhere? Like, could there be like a little settlement of mobile homes or something? Because when I was younger and I'd visit my father, he would have to go through, he lived out in the countryside of Marysville, Washington, and there were times he'd have to take a couple back roads to get to where he lived. And even though, because these back roads, you would not think that there was anything there because it was just forest on both sides of the road. But after you hit a certain point, then you would come across this, like a little settlement of homes and stuff. So I'm wondering if that there was like a little settlement of homes or something, and that's where that truck went to, and then, was later seen elsewhere,
Sheriff's deputies were unable to determine who the pickup belonged to. They were equally baffled by what they found in and around George's car.
When we was looking at the car, there was several piles of wood around the car, which we didn't know, but later we found out that his habits was to go somewhere around his house in Nashville and pick up wood.
Eileen told me, she said there is no way George could have driven that car up there, much less put sticks in the back of it. I mean, she said that it was his baby. He kept that car perfect. Never let, a scratch or a dent or anything. He would go get it fixed, much less put firewood in the back seat. So there's so many things that don't make any sense. Unfortunately, a lot of time's passed now, and I'm not sure how many clues are left, if any.
Authorities are still trying to piece together what happened to George Owens. Did he meet with foul play sometime after he left the market? Or did George suffer a minor stroke, become disoriented, and drive up the logging trail himself, only to wander helplessly into the woods? Sadly, Aileen Owens passed away in 1989. But these unanswered questions continue to haunt the rest of George's family.
I would never rest peaceful until I find out what happened to him. Because, I live a horrible life ever since he's been missing. I never give him up. I still believe he's still alive. Somewhere.
George Owens is 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs 160 pounds. When last seen, he was wearing glasses, a gold watch, and a ruby ring. He would today be 87 years old. If you have any information, please contact the Perry County, Tennessee Sheriff's Department or write to Unsolved Mysteries, P.O. Box 11449, Burbank, California, 915.
Okay, and that is the end of that case of this two-part episode of our Labor Day special of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. If you are new to these videos that I like to make, this is a portion of the video where I go to Unsolved Mysteries Wiki and I look up the case that we just watched to see if there's any further updates. Okay, his real name is George Owens. No known nicknames. Location was Nolensville, Tennessee. Date was July 22nd, 1985. His occupation was a church minister. He was born in 1905, so he's well over. If he's alive now, he'd be well over 100 years old. His height is 5'11". He is hopefully 160 pounds. He was married to Aileen, or however you pronounce her name, Owens. She died in 1989, sadly. His characteristics that he was an African American male with white hair and brown eyes. George wore eyeglasses and used a cane to help him walk. Okay, we already know the details, so let's go down to the... Okay, suspects. Some suspect that George was a victim of foul play, mainly due to the condition of his car, and the witness who reported seeing his car being followed by an unidentified pickup truck. Others suspected that he may have wandered off after suffering from a stroke, and I think that's honestly what happened to him. I think he had a stroke and he got confused because of the wood pile, the piles of kindling and stuff. That's what they said he did at home. So I think his mind was trying to help reconstruct things, and that could have been something that it would do to try to help him gain his senses and stuff. Extra notes: this case was featured as part of the August 19th, 1992 episode. Results: it's unsolved. In 1993, after no trace of George was found for 8 years, he was declared legally dead. His grandson received $33,000 from his estate. Sadly, his whereabouts remain unknown. And that marks the end of this case of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. It was a Labor Day 2019 special. It'll be ready to be viewed on 6 p.m. Labor Day, which is tomorrow, is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I just hope that, by keeping word alive about these cases, that it, offers, some sort of closure for the family in the future. Hopefully somebody or something can be located regarding either Roger Kane or George Owens. But I guess there's not much really left I can say. I hope you enjoyed what you watched. Hold on, let me switch back over here. Let's see here. If you would like to contact me, I have 3 primary ways you can contact me. You can reach me at my email. The address is unsolvedmysteriescommentary@gmail.com. You can reach me on Facebook at facebook.com/GCurse Productions. And you can also reach me at Twitter at twitter.com/Jeff, aka GCurse. I enjoy seeing what people have to say because, we all like the Unsolved Mysteries, and I like to hear what your thoughts and what your theories about the cases that I commentate on are and everything. So until next time, my name is Jeff. I'm wishing you all a happy Labor Day weekend. And just remember, if there's somebody special in your life, make sure you give them that hug because you don't know what can happen within the next minute. Good night, everyone.